Here's my thesis. Marathon cannot try to compete with arc raiders. Its only chance—
straight out the gate with the heat. This young man said Marathon has no chance of competing, cannot compete. So, Arc Raiders versus Marathon, the battle for supremacy. Now, be very honest here. I'm going to ask a question to my audience straight out the gate. Let's get right to it, guys. Let's get right to it. Who here thought Marathon was going to be a flop right out the gate, right? I'm going to keep it real with you. I didn't think Marathon was going to flop as bad as it had so far. I, honest to God, didn't think Bungie was going to stumble this hard with this project. Now, mind you, they're in bed with Sony right now, right? So, I don't know. This has been very scary for Marathon, and I'm talking like the game is out. It's like in a play test type of phase, right? In the stark contrast of responses between Arc Raiders versus Marathon has just been night and day. People heavily praising Arc Raiders on one side, just going crazy for the game, because let's face it, it has shown and proven itself, right? And then on the other end of the field, listen, we have stolen art pieces, different shit going on with Marathon, the gameplay just not holding people, and just things not going well on that end with Bungie and Marathon, right? Who would have thought Bungie would come out the gate stumbling this hard with this title? Now, with that said, we have a video to react to that's on the subject matter of Arc Raiders versus Marathon. And this is a essay style video, and it seems to be gaining a lot of hype. And we're going to dive into this and see what's up with Arc Raiders versus Marathon, truly. So if you guys been rocking out with the Arc Raiders content and been liking the conversations we've been having on the channel, make sure that you give this video a big like and also consider subscribing today. So folks, today's video is coming from Fancy Phoenix, and the title of his video is Marathon versus Arc Raiders. Can Bungie even compete? All right, guys, this content creator's links are down below, and without further ado, let's hop into the action. Now, mind you, peeps, I did not check this video at all. This is my first time checking it with you guys, so this should be good. Let's get into it.
I've played Marathon's latest playtest, and I've put tons of hours into Arc Raiders at this point. These two games are entering the gaming world around the same time and in the same genre. Comparisons are rampant, and if I worked at Bungie, I'd be very scared of how these comparisons are going to impact Marathon sales. Since I have more experience with Marathon than the average person at this time, I feel that I'm in a semi-unique position to offer critique of Marathon while using Arc Raiders as a case study to offer further insight.
This is kind of a blessing them, in my opinion, stumbling out the gate. I don't know if you guys agree with me on that. I don't know. Some of y'all might be like, what are you talking about? But just to see what your competitor in the same pocket of gaming, in the same genre of gaming is doing is very much an advantage. But also, holy fuck, let's be real. The bar has been set so high with Arc Raiders. Could Bungie even get there with it? I don't know. That has yet to be seen. But from the feedback that a lot of community members have had so far with the playtest of Marathon, and personally, a good friend of mine, shout out to my boy John, bro, I've spoken to people, they just were not moved by this title at all. They didn't even let this black man in. They didn't let me in because God knows if a lot of my core people are saying, Abel, we wasn't really rocking that. You know what I mean? If my core people, if some of you folks here, and you guys have said it in my comments on previous videos I have mentioning Marathon before, a lot of y'all weren't feeling it, man. Just is what it is. But can they learn? Can they pivot? Can they do something that sheds a little light on Marathon? I don't know. But let's see what my man is talking about, because he has played it. He's played Marathon recently, more recent. Their newer playtest. So maybe he knows something we don't know right now. We're about to hop into it. Let's get back to it.
Here's my thesis. Marathon cannot try to compete with Arc Raiders. Its only chance is to...
Whoa! What? They don't play... Yo, straight out the gate with the heat. This young man said Marathon has no chance of competing, cannot compete. Okay. This is crazy. Is he saying more or less dead on arrival type of thing? Like, or is he gonna twist this in some way? This is interesting. This is interesting, folks. We're about to get into it.
Further into its own unique direction.
Okay. That's what he's getting at.
People really want to hate Marathon, and I get it. Bungie's seemingly rampant theft of art is unacceptable. Plus, the fact that the former CEO was spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on car collecting while laying off his hardworking employees is disgusting. These things cannot go unacknowledged, but from here on out, I'm going to engage with Marathon and with Arc Raiders as works of art divorced from the context of their respective studios. Now, let's go point by point. We'll talk about different aspects of Marathon, what it does well, and what needs improvement. Then we'll use Arc Raiders in comparison to see what we can learn from that. First up is art style. Art style is among the most important aspects of any game, but it is also one of the most subjective. The only reason I brought this up at all is to start on a positive note and praise both games. Arc Raiders' retro-futuristic outfits, serene natural environments, and arachnophobia triggering enemy design all coalesce into a world I thoroughly enjoy exploring. In Marathon, there's simply nothing like Marathon. I love every aspect of Marathon's art style, and whether you love it or hate it, there's no denying that it's unforgettable.
I will say that Marathon does have an interesting art style. I'll definitely say that. And I don't know if you guys relate to this. They really intrigued me with the art style and visual through the cinematic trailer that they had. That was the best part to me about Marathon, about Bungie's Marathon. And you might be like, Abel, what are you talking about? Let me elaborate just a little bit more here. They came out with this trailer that kind of gave the background synopsis of what Marathon is, right? That trailer was so beautiful, so engaging, so just put you in the story of what Marathon is. It was just what a piece of art, what a piece of like story content to behold, right? And then we get the product and it's sort of not speaking to how that trailer presented. If you guys know, you guys know what trailer I'm talking about. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. If you paid any attention to Marathon, you know the trailer I'm talking about that was showing people getting killed left and right and the battles just exchanging. Bro, it was fucking phenomenal. Like that set the table for me, like, oh shit, this is what Marathon is. This is really cool. But then on the other hand, you had the fucking game, which did not connect the dots. It just was not hitting from what the streets was saying. But the art style, unforgettable. Marathon truly looked like it was going to be something unique unto itself.
now let's get to the nitty-gritty. Time to kill and PvE. I think Arc Raiders TTK feels pretty good. PvE enemies are very threatening, but they won't insta-kill you unless you put yourself in a really dumb position. And other raiders can kill you quickly, but there's usually just enough time for you to react. They'll often get the first hit in, but you'll usually have enough time to get to cover or return fire depending on your shield. This stands in stark contrast with Marathon. Unless I had a really good shield, if somebody ambushed me, I wouldn't even know where they were before I was dead on the ground. Now, going up against PvE enemies did feel a little bit more balanced in terms of time to kill. A lot like with Arc Raiders, enemies felt dangerous, but they wouldn't insta-kill. And yet, despite similar TTKs in both games when it comes to PvE enemies, Marathon's PvE fights are far more frustrating than Arc Raiders. I believe this is because of the increased enemy density in Marathon and the fact that damage is far more difficult to avoid. For example, with Arc Raiders, a typical enemy patrol will usually be 1 to 3 drone enemies. They all do significant damage, but their attacks are very well telegraphed, and if you play it right, you can easily avoid any damage in the fight. Versus Marathon, where enemy patrols are far larger, and their attacks are harder to avoid due to their higher projectile velocity and how fast they fire. Even when you play it well, your shields are probably going to break every fight.
Sounds like you don't stand much of a chance against the AI in Marathon. Now, mind you, again, guys, I haven't played it, but it sounds like that's really rough. And then also, homeboy said in PvP fights, you don't have no fucking time to react. Like what? That's a pet peeve of mine. That is a pet. If you know me, if you know Abel Green, you know it's a pet peeve of mine when you get shot by another player, right? And you don't have time to respond. You don't have time to react. My man just said in Marathon, when you got PvP'd, you had no response time. It was like, yo, where did they shoot you from? And you were just gone. That's not good, ladies and gentlemen. That's not good at all. When you hear that, and you can't return fire and respond properly in certain scenarios, that does not make for a fun gaming experience. That just doesn't. It makes for a more infuriating one, and one that questions your experience more often than not, which is never a good thing.
Those of you who play Arc Raiders, picture this. Double the amount of wasps, half their health, and remove the bright light that shows you where they're aiming. You'd probably still win most of your fights, but you're going to end up taking more damage. You'll be constantly using shield rechargers and using way more ammo to kill all of the additional enemies.
I don't know if that's fun. That doesn't sound fun to me.
Every fight in Marathon just felt like a massive drain on my resources, and avoiding fights was very difficult. But Marathon's gunplay is great. I mean, it's developed by the studio who built Destiny. How could Marathon's gunplay be anything less than an 8 out of 10? So with that in mind, I actually have a proposed solution that I think might solve Marathon's PvP TTK, and that will make PvE feel much less draining.
All right, let's get to it. Let's get to the solution. I love solutions. Let's get into it, y'all.
The solution? Copy Fortnite. Don't click off the video.
What? He said copy Fortnite. This is about to get interesting, y'all. Whoa. Okay. This guy's tricky with it. He's different. I like it where he's going with it. Let's hear him out. Copy Fortnite. I did not expect that. I did not expect that. All right, let's see what he's talking.
Let me explain. Fortnite has an overshield system. Every player has a small 50 health overshield. The overshield regenerates while not in combat, while your main health bar and shields need to be repaired with items. If Marathon were to implement this system, you'd be able to take a small amount of damage without having to fully recharge your main shield, meaning that even though trading some damage with Marathon's enemies is inevitable, you don't get your resources punished because you got into a fight. And of course, a little bit of extra shield will make PvP's time to kill a little bit longer. To be clear, I am not suggesting this for Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders doesn't need this overshield mechanic due
not at all.
To its enemy design and how well those enemies telegraph their attacks. All an overshield system would do is just make the game easier, and I don't think that's what players want. Because of Marathon's far more numerous hit-scan NPCs, this overshield will lead to less frustration while still punishing players who pick fights that they aren't properly prepared for. This suggestion ties back to my thesis. Marathon cannot use the same health and shield system that Arc Raiders utilizes. The Marathon team needs to adapt their health and shield system to fit their unique combat environment.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Okay, now let's talk the social aspect of these games. I never thought I'd say it, but running into other players is actually my favorite part of Arc Raiders. The proxy chat is such a game-changing feature. The ability to negotiate with people, ask for help, or even threaten them opens up players to so many memorable moments. I can already recall half a dozen times where talking to other raiders made my experience playing the game so much better. And I'm happy to report that Marathon has this proxy chat system as well. No one used it. Every single person shot first.
I didn't know they had that within that title. I mean, granted, they didn't let me play, right? They didn't let me play, but I didn't know they had prox chat in Marathon. That wasn't even a highlight feature. I heard nobody speak about that. Even my close friends, I heard none of them speak of prox chat at all. Interesting. What a contrast in comparison to Arc Raiders. People live and die by the mic on Arc Raiders. Now, mind you, I'm a motherfucker that I think is going to turn mine off and just start thugging again. But yeah, man, prox chat gets it popping for content creators and just human interaction overall. It can't be beat. It's the heart of Arc Raiders, and I think it's phenomenal. Right. If you use it or don't use it, it's a great feature to have within that title. It's safe to say. We can't really argue that. But to know that they have the same feature set in Marathon and it hardly is used or noticed. Interesting to find out. Very interesting.
I had one guy talk to me via proxy chat, and all he did was say sorry as he executed me. To be honest, I don't 100% understand why I had two completely different experiences with this same feature. I can theorize. I think time to kill might be a part of it. Ambushing other players is inherently less risky in Marathon due to that TTK, so people are just less likely to negotiate and talk to each other. There was also this bug where choosing what audio devices you wanted to use could be difficult. That probably contributed. Another thing to consider is that the audience was 100% made up of people who specifically signed up for this playtest. So maybe it was just a sweatier group of players that was far more into PvP than the average Arc Raiders player.
Yeah, that could be it. That partially could be it. And between the functionality of it too, not being the best, yeah, those are two good reasons. But I don't know. Who knows? We need a bigger populace to check this title out and report back.
Heck, I could have just gotten unlucky and exclusively ran into people who didn't want to talk. Unfortunately, I am unsure of what the solution to this problem is, but I am certain that this is a massive hurdle that Bungie needs to be paying attention to. This is the only part of this video where I'll say Bungie needs to shamelessly copy Arc Raiders when it comes to their proxy chat. Bungie needs to do whatever it takes to cultivate these types of social interactions that Arc Raiders is so full of, because a social player base will do more for you than any other system you could possibly implement.
A social player base, meaning us casual folks, the ones that spend money and get shit popping. Listen, you sweat lords and people that just know life the games and just are terrors to people. Yo, I would love to banish you motherfuckers. I really would. The casuals, the people that are socialites, right? That come in the game and make the experience fun and bring out their wallet for skins and shit. We keep the lights on. We keep the game fun. We do. Not sweat people, right? I know you might be watching the video right now smiling because you're like, yo, I'm Abel. I'm what Abel's saying right now, right? We come on, we have a good time. You know what I mean? We're eating a little food, gaming, whatever. Listen, we like a skin. We cop some shit. Like, bro, we look fly in the game. We do what we got to do, and we bounce, bro. We bounce. But the social aspect and the fun aspect, we keep it lit. That sweaty shit, yeah, nah. We don't want that. We don't want that. We definitely need a social experience within Marathon to get shit popping. And my man's right here. At this point, you shamelessly copy what Arc Raiders is doing, right? You got to. You had the blueprint. You have something that you see fundamentally is a hit with a lot of people. So yeah, let's get that social shit popping. Let's get that worked on and ironed out. Marathon has to do it at this point.
I've got to open the floor to y'all here. How is it that Arc Raiders has cultivated so much more social interaction in game while Marathon has completely failed in that regard? Please let me know in the comments if you have any ideas.
I think it's pretty simple. Honestly, through the gameplay, from what we're hearing and seeing, they don't allow for that type of interaction. Again, could be the populace as well. Maybe that set of people aren't that social, but from what I'm hearing, though, it doesn't sound like the gameplay experiences helps a social experience at all either. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's a balance between both of those. If they find a tweak within the functionality of microphones, right, and then also a balance or tweak within the gameplay itself that allows for more social interactions in experiences and in scenarios, that could really help out Marathon in a major way. But does Bungie recognize that? Do they choose to acknowledge that? That's a whole nother thing.
I have one final element that I'd like to compare between Marathon and Arc Raiders: monetization. This is a complex and tricky subject, and to be clear, a lot of Marathon's monetization strategy is currently an unknown. It was originally priced at $40, and the gaming community at large wasn't a huge fan of that price point. But since then, Arc Raiders came out, and it is currently priced at $40. And Arc Raiders is breaking records.
Yep.
In fact, this is the first time I can ever remember a digital deluxe upgrade having a positive rating on Steam. So clearly, extraction shooters can succeed at the $40 price point. But Marathon won't. Let's go through a hypothetical scenario.
I like this guy. I like the twists and turns. He thinks like Abel Green. I like showing y'all one title and then having a whole different subject matter under the hood. You know what I mean? I like that. You got to keep shit popping. He's a content creator. He gets it, bro. He gets it. Like, I like his approach, though. I like the twists and turns that we're seeing here. I enjoy it.
Bungie somehow makes a game that's better than Arc Raiders in every single way. If they release this hypothetical version of Marathon at a $40 price point, the bad press that this game has already accumulated will likely still cripple its launch sales. I believe that Marathon has no choice other than to come in at a cheaper price point. I think that would give Bungie a lot more goodwill from their audience, and more people would be willing to give it a chance.
He might be onto something here. This might be the only saving grace for Marathon right there. Because if they make that adjustment and do that shit correctly, that actually might bode very well for Marathon overall, and they could gain traction on Arc Raiders. Like, no lie, seriously. If they come in at a healthy price point and definitely don't go for the $40 hit against Marathon, maybe take it down between $19 and just $30, right? If they sit in the pocket of that, I think that they could actually stand a chance. Now, my man said they actually have something with the gameplay. Again, I haven't played it, right? I haven't played it, but if they come in with the monetization correct in this title, which I don't feel a lot of corporate studios would get right at all. Like, mind you, Bungie is a corporation. They could do some damage here. They could gain some traction. Now, overtake Arc Raiders? By no means. Fuck no. Just not happening, ladies and gentlemen. Arc Raiders versus Marathon on that front. Arc Raiders smokes Marathon, right? Just smokes them straight up. But to gain traction and actually be relevant in the space, they could potentially do that if the monetization and pricing is on point.
Now let's go through a second hypothetical scenario. Marathon is both financially successful and critically successful on launch. How do they financially support its continued development? Well, it's a battle pass and paid cosmetics. That's industry standard. I mean, what else could it be? Paid expansions, for example, would just split the player base, and it's a ridiculously bad idea. A battle pass and paid cosmetics are exactly what Arc Raiders is doing in order to fund their continued development. This seems to be a successful monetization strategy thus far, but only time will tell if it's successful in the long term.
You just can't tell if cosmetics and things will sell for certain games. You just can't tell. it's not just a given, right? You have to make skins and things that actually speak to your audience, and your cosmetics have to be something that again, the audience just wants in general. I see a lot of gamers within Arc Raiders itself that go in with these skins because they really just enjoy them. Some of them look awesome, other ones not so attractive. I'll be very honest, but there's a lot of skins that I have peeped, right, that I didn't purchase yet, but that I've peeped that I'm like, I will lay down some money for this. I just dead ass, y'all, like just being real. I will lay down some money for this. Now, if they cannot connect the dots on that front, Marathon being Marathon, if they cannot get that right and make intriguing skins and just make items that the community wants, and again, kind of figure out what's the draw of Marathon ultimately long term, they're going to be in a bad way. This is not going to bode well for them. But if they get some nice looking skins, like get some artists that go stupid in the game and just make some viable stuff that just makes sense for the game and also keep you swagged out and looking fly on the field, I mean, that's our shit, bro. That's my shit. I think people will fuck with it, but that's going to be a fine balance. And then you also have to prove that you got the art to back up that interest. You know what I mean? You just can't make flop ass skins. We need something that is a viable product that people would actually clamor for.
And in Marathon's current states, I can't see people being super willing to purchase cosmetics or battle passes. It's exclusively a first-person game.
Now, look at this. Look, first person. That's another thing. He's right. The game is first person, right? And then he's already saying he doesn't know if they could capture that audience on that front. Guys, we're bumping into trouble already. Now, mind you, again, my man played this. Phoenix played this. Fancy Phoenix, he played this. So he knows a little more than I know right now, right? More than you and I might know right now. So he's already seeing the problem, okay? And it's first person perspective. How can you show off a skin in first person perspective? Now, mind you, I did buy some skins in R6. I did buy the Undertaker skin in Rainbow Six Siege, right? And it's a first person shooter. But I don't know. I felt a connection with Rainbow Six Siege. That's me. I fuck with Siege. So if they have a fly skin, the wallet comes, it just is what it is. But again, if Marathon's a fly game, I think the wallet will come out regardless. But again, that's far and few in between with these styles of games that actually happens for. You need the community to be engaged and say, yeah, we fuck with you. Let's go. Let's do it. You know what I mean? You need the community to back that. And I don't think Marathon is going to have that out the gate. They have to gain a lot of trust with you and I to even get to that point. So again, pricing is going to be a thing here, and what they offer far as content is definitely going to come into the equation as well.
The cosmetics are cool and all, but you rarely see your player character, whereas Arc Raiders has your player character's model in view at all times, leading players to be far more invested in how they look. This once again ties back to my main point. Marathon can't copy Arc Raiders in this regard. Marathon needs first person. I'm not suggesting that they switch to third person like Arc Raiders.
Please don't. Oh God, no. Please don't.
So they're going to need to find another way to make cosmetic items more appealing. I believe a social space could achieve this. Something like Destiny's Tower, where you can walk around in third person and hang out with your friends in game.
That's a good solution. I like that.
This also has the potential to offer an endgame activity, such as customizing your base or ship or whatever they make the social space. This is a suggestion I think Arc Raiders could take as well, but I don't think it's as necessary to the game's success as it would be for Marathon. Marathon can't beat Arc Raiders at its own game, and it shouldn't try. I think that Arc Raiders needs to be the wake-up call and catalyst for change at Bungie. Innovate, mix things up, do stuff that Arc Raiders and other extraction shooters haven't done yet. Lean into your studio's strengths. I'm gonna just start throwing stuff at the wall here. Marathon has an incredible world and industry-leading gunplay. Lean into that even more. I think leaning more into PvE could help that. Maybe make some PvE only modes where you can explore Marathon's unique world with a bit more freedom. Maybe make it so that the harder the zone is rated, the more PvP there will be. Here's another idea. How about a mode where all players load into a zone and are marked as friendly to each other? But as the match progresses, hostile player invaders start showing up, kind of like the invaders in Dark Souls, or in the Gambit mode in Destiny. This
That would be cool.
will add the risk of player versus player combat, and it might also encourage more social interaction between the friendly players, since they might want to team up against those hostile invaders. Maybe you can lean further into the legacy of the Marathon games, and bundle the old school games into this new one. Maybe remaster them, or give them out for free.
I would like that solution. And just going back to what my man said real quick. Yeah. Bungie has to lean into their uniqueness. Like, as a content creator, me personally on my YouTube channel, guys, I lean into me just being me. Like being as silly as I am and just me just saying crazy shit sometimes and yeah, just me being me. That's what makes my channel and you and I connect, right? Like there's just certain things that I do nobody else would do. It's like, oh, that's Abel. Like, oh, only Abel talks like this, or Abel does this. You know what I mean? And I lean into that. I don't shy away from that. So Bungie, I feel they need to lean into what they have to offer that's unique from everybody else and find a market there. Now, that's a viable strategy. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that wish Arc Raiders had a PvE experience, right? Only, right? Minusing the PvP aspect. Bungie could do that here. And they already do it well with Destiny, so it wouldn't be something that's out of the norm for them, right? It would be right in their wheelhouse. But if they execute it well, however, that could be something very remarkable and something that a lot of people highlight and give praise on. Heck, if they do a great PvE system that I can enjoy, I think it would be something I would like. Because honestly, I do like PvE, but the experiences have to be good, you know? So that could be something special. And if they do like a bundle with what my man just said, like bundling the old Marathon games with this game, that would be genius. That would be something more for gamers to get excited about. You know what I mean? But just some thoughts.
Get creative and fight like hell to stand out and change the perception behind this game, because Marathon has to escape the shadow of comparisons or it's all over. Look, at the end of the day, I am not a game developer, and everything I've suggested here is so much easier said than done. But Marathon really needs to adapt to survive, and I want it to survive. Heck, I want Marathon to thrive. But Arc Raiders is an unstoppable force that has taken over the extraction shooter market. I want a world where both of these games will succeed for many years to come.
I do too. Honest to God, like I like competition and I like variety in shooters. I don't like when one shooter just dominates everything. I think that's corny. I think there needs to be competition in this space, and there needs to be just healthy experiences all around that people could dive into. I think that's very important.
Arc Raiders is nailing it on every front, but Bungie really has their work cut out for them. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments below what Bungie would have to do for you to give Marathon a shot. Do you believe Marathon has any chance at all? And how are you enjoying Arc Raiders? This is a very small channel, so if you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Otherwise, the YouTube algorithm will just continue to ignore me forever. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hopefully, I'll see you again soon.
So guys, what do you feel about Fancy Phoenix's take on Arc Raiders versus Marathon? Do you think with the outlook that he has on Marathon, do you feel as though Marathon has potential to come back and do something special for itself? Now, I'm going to say this. He nailed it when he says Marathon needs to lean into its uniqueness. This game has to be different from what is out there if it stands any fighting chance to survive in this gaming space. Okay? Because if they just chase what Arc Raiders is doing and they just chase, they'll forever be chasing. You know what I mean? So they have to come out and lean into what makes them different and showcase their title in a whole nother way that highlights their strengths overall. So with that said, that's how I'm feeling on the subject matter. Let me know what you guys think. Do you feel like Marathon has a chance of surviving in this climate? Also, if you guys did not check out my last Arc Raiders video, it was a banger. Be sure to click here and I'll be sure to see you there.